Here's something almost nobody is talking about right now. While the world keeps getting more unpredictable, supply chains that flicker without warning, grocery prices that climb overnight, and headlines that make even the most optimistic people pause, the average household is sitting just 3 days away from a serious food problem. 3 days. That's the fragile reality for most families right now. Not 3 weeks, not 3 months, 3 days. But here's what changes everything. The foods that genuinely protect you aren't the ones you scramble to buy when panic hits the shelves. They're the quiet ones, the ones already sitting in your pantry, some of them capable of lasting decades, or even indefinitely, without ever going bad. These aren't fancy survival gimmicks. They're not expensive preparedness kits you have to order online. They're ordinary items you probably already own, transformed by proper storage into reliable insurance for whatever comes next. Today, we're counting down 17 must-have foods to stockpile in 2026 that essentially never expire when stored correctly. Some of these foods helped build civilizations. Some crossed oceans with explorers. Some have been discovered centuries later and were still perfectly usable. And by the time we reach number 1, you'll understand exactly why experienced preppers, homesteaders, and food storage experts never leave it out of their long-term plans. Let's begin. At number 17, we start with white rice. And every serious conversation about long-term food storage starts here for good reason. In 2026, with global rice production facing weather volatility and export restrictions popping up in unexpected places, having your own supply feels less like preparation and more like basic wisdom. White rice is cheap, versatile, and when stored properly, remains perfectly safe and nutritious for 30 years or longer. Archaeologists have found ancient rice still edible. The secret is straightforward science. Milling removes the natural oils that cause rancidity, which means the grain stays stable almost indefinitely. Pack it in airtight mylar bags or food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers, and you've created something close to suspended animation. No oxygen, no bacteria, no spoilage. It adapts to any dish, works as both food and emergency currency in tough times, and requires nothing but boiling water. One 25-pound bag properly stored can feed a person for weeks. In uncertain times like now, rice isn't just a side dish, it's the foundation of everything else. Number 16 is an item most people immediately dismiss, and that's exactly why it earns its place here. Ramen noodles stored in a cool, dry place, particularly quality brick-style packets rather than foam cups, can last up to 10 years or more. That's a full decade of fast, reliable calories sitting quietly on your shelf. The low moisture content and airtight packaging stop bacteria before they start. Transfer flat packets into airtight containers to protect against humidity and pests. In a real disruption, you only need hot water. It's not gourmet, but when your priority is quick energy with zero effort and minimal resources, ramen delivers exactly what's needed. Number 15 is canned vegetables, and nobody gets excited about a can of green beans on a normal Tuesday. That's honest. But 2 weeks into a supply disruption, when fresh produce has long since disappeared from store shelves, that same can becomes something entirely different. The canning process seals and sterilizes everything inside. And most canned vegetables stay safe and nutritious for 5 to 10 years, often longer in cool, dark storage. Here's what most people miss. The liquid inside the can provides both food and hydration when clean water becomes scarce. You're getting fiber, antioxidants, iron, and vitamins preserved in meaningful amounts. Stock varieties your family already eats, so nothing goes to waste during normal times. Number 14 is honey, and this is the one that still blows minds every time it comes up. Archaeologists have discovered jars of honey inside ancient Egyptian tombs that were over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. 3,000 years. Let that sink in. Empires rose and fell, languages disappeared, entire civilizations vanished, and the honey remained not just intact but genuinely usable. The reason comes down to chemistry that is almost poetic in its elegance. Honey contains very little water. Its high natural acidity creates an environment where bacteria and mold simply cannot survive. It is, in the truest sense, nature's perfect preservative, a food that protects itself. Beyond food, honey has been used for millennia as a wound dressing, throat soother, and digestive aid. When medical supplies run low, it quietly covers multiple needs at once. If it crystallizes in the jar, don't worry. That's normal physics, not spoilage. A warm water bath returns it to liquid form in minutes. One properly sealed jar can genuinely last a lifetime. Number 13 is lentils, small, humble, and consistently underestimated. Dry lentils stored in airtight containers away from moisture remain viable for up to 30 years without refrigeration. They deliver plant-based protein, complex carbohydrates, fiber, and iron, all of which become critical when fresh meat becomes unreliable. They also cook faster than most other legumes, which matters when fuel is limited. Flavor-wise, lentils are a blank canvas. They absorb spices, bouillon, and canned tomatoes beautifully, turning into satisfying soups and stews rather than just sustenance. In 2026's economic climate, lentils offer exceptional nutrition per dollar stored, a combination almost nothing else on this list can match. Number 12 is white sugar, and most people think of it purely as a treat item rather than a survival food. That thinking misses its real value when systems get stressed. Pure white sugar kept dry and sealed lasts indefinitely. It doesn't spoil, lose its sweetness, or become unsafe over time. More importantly, sugar is a natural preservative. It creates an osmotic barrier that pulls moisture away from bacteria, the same principle behind jams and preserves that last for months without refrigeration. Long before refrigeration existed, sugar helped preserve fruits, meats, and syrups for extended periods. It also provides the fastest calorie source available. Under physical or mental stress, the body needs quick fuel, and sugar delivers instantly. And when meals become repetitive over days or weeks, even a small touch of sweetness provides a psychological lift that is genuinely hard to overstate. Stock it in bulk. It earns every inch of shelf space it occupies. Number 11 is salt, and if there were a Hall of Fame for food storage, salt would have its own wing with its name on the door. For thousands of years, civilizations fought over it. Trade routes were established because of it. The word salary itself comes from the Latin word for salt because it was once used as payment for labor. Today, it's one of the cheapest items in any grocery store, yet its importance has not changed by a single degree. Pure salt has no biological mechanism for spoilage. Kept dry, it lasts forever. Not 5 years, not 50 years, but forever. The container might deteriorate. The label might fade beyond reading, but the salt itself remains chemically identical to the day it was packaged. In a crisis, salt does far more than flavor food. It preserves meat through curing, enables fermentation of vegetables, and helps maintain the body's fluid balance, muscle function, and nerve signals. Every muscle contraction, every nerve signal, every fluid process in the human body depends on sodium. Stick with plain non-iodized salt for long-term bulk storage, since additives and iodized versions can degrade over time. A few large bags take almost no space but provide irreplaceable utility across dozens of situations. Number 10 is white vinegar, and almost every kitchen has a bottle tucked away somewhere, yet almost no one thinks of it as a serious preparedness item. White vinegar essentially never expires. Its high acetic acid content makes it entirely self-preserving. Bacteria and mold simply cannot grow in it. A bottle you buy today will perform exactly the same in 10 or 20 years without any special treatment. But permanence is just the beginning. Vinegar preserves vegetables through pickling, acts as an effective antimicrobial cleaner for surfaces, tenderizes meat, treats minor skin irritations, and works as a natural weed deterrent. In a resource-constrained environment, one jug covers cooking, cleaning, preservation, and hygiene simultaneously. The people who prepare most effectively aren't always those with the biggest storage rooms. Often they're the ones who choose items that solve multiple problems at once, and vinegar does exactly that. Number 9 is powdered milk, and it has a reputation problem. Many people dismiss it as inferior, something used only when better options aren't available. In a long-term stockpile, that view changes quickly. Non-fat dry milk stored in sealed containers away from heat and moisture remains nutritionally viable for 20 years or longer. You're getting consistent calcium, protein, B12, and vitamin D, essentials that become difficult to obtain when fresh dairy disappears from supply chains. Just add water and you have milk for coffee, cereal, baking, or soups. After opening, transfer to Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers to extend quality further. In 2026, with dairy supply chains facing increasing pressure from weather and rising costs, having this backup is no longer a fringe idea. It's straightforward practical wisdom. Number 8 is instant coffee, and this might be one of the most psychologically important items on the entire list. In difficult situations, people don't just miss calories, they miss routine, they miss familiarity, they miss the small rituals that make life feel predictable and normal. Freeze-dried instant coffee can remain viable for 20 years or more when vacuum sealed, and it needs nothing but hot water, no grinder, no filters, no complicated equipment. In under 2 minutes, you have a warm, caffeinated drink that feels completely normal when everything else feels uncertain. Beyond the ritual, caffeine improves alertness and focus under stress and can mildly suppress appetite, helping stretch other food supplies further. In prolonged disruptions, small familiar comforts become anchors for mental resilience. The people who manage extended hardship best are often those who preserve the small daily rituals that remind them of ordinary life. Don't overlook this one. Number 7 is bouillon cubes, and here's a situation most people never think about until they're in the middle of it. Picture yourself eating rice, again and again, day after day. The calories are there, the nutrition is there, but eventually something begins to wear down. Not your stomach, but your enthusiasm. Food fatigue is a real and underestimated challenge in long-term emergencies, and it affects decision-making and morale in ways that matter enormously. A single bouillon cube dissolved into hot water and stirred into plain rice, lentils, or canned vegetables can transform the entire meal into something that actually feels worth eating. Chicken flavor, beef flavor, vegetable flavor. Suddenly, an ordinary bowl of grain becomes a satisfying dish rather than mere fuel. These small cubes weigh almost nothing, take zero meaningful space, are extremely affordable, and last 5 to 10 years or longer depending on storage. Small investment. Enormous return on morale and daily quality of life. Number 6 is oats, and they look plain and unremarkable, which is precisely why they are so often overlooked by people building food reserves. When you examine what oats actually deliver, the picture shifts very quickly. Stored in airtight containers in a cool, dry environment, oats remain viable for 30 years or more, joining white rice and lentils in that elite, long shelf life category. Nutritionally, they provide insoluble fiber, iron, B vitamins, and solid protein for a grain, making them excellent for steady, lasting energy rather than quick spikes. Their versatility is another quiet strength. Warm porridge in the morning, no-cook energy bars mixed with honey and powdered milk, thickener for soups, base for sweet or savory dishes. One food serving countless purposes. Affordable in bulk, lightweight, and familiar enough that family members will actually eat them willingly. That last point matters more than people realize, because the best food storage plan isn't built around foods you'll force yourself to eat. It's built around foods you'll genuinely rotate and consume. Number 5 is canned meats. And when fresh protein sources become unreliable, which during serious disruptions they often do, disappearing first from store shelves, canned meats step in to fill a gap that nothing else can easily replace. Tuna, chicken, sardines, salmon, and others arrive fully cooked, vacuum-sealed, and ready to eat straight from the can the moment you need them. Shelf life typically ranges from 5 to 10 years, often longer in ideal cool, dark storage conditions. The sterilization process stops spoilage entirely from the first day. These deliver high-quality protein, meaningful calorie density, and important nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids found especially in sardines and salmon. Imagine a pantry filled with rice and lentils. Now add canned chicken or salmon to those same meals, and suddenly the menu changes completely. The calories become more complete, the nutrition becomes more balanced, the meals become far more satisfying. And when your body is under physical or mental stress, reliable protein is not optional, it becomes essential. Number 4 is cooking fats, oils, and ghee. And this category is frequently skipped when people build emergency pantries. It is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. The body needs dietary fat to absorb fat-soluble vitamins, specifically A, D, E, and K, and to maintain caloric density under stress. Without fat, meals quickly become unsatisfying and nutritionally incomplete, regardless of how many calories they contain. Vegetable oils and olive oil last 2 to 3 years in cool, dark storage and work perfectly for cooking and enriching dishes. Ghee, clarified butter with moisture and milk solids removed, performs even better. For centuries, people in hot climates used ghee specifically because it stored so well without refrigeration, and its rich flavor improves simple foods instantly. Rice becomes better, beans become better, almost everything becomes more satisfying. Fat also delivers 9 calories per gram compared to 4 from proteins or carbohydrates. In a calorie-premium environment where every gram matters, that density difference is significant. This is the category that separates a plan which merely keeps you alive from one that actually sustains health and satisfaction over months or years. Number 3 is MREs, meals ready to eat. And they were originally engineered for one specific purpose, to feed soldiers operating in active combat zones, where preparation time, cooking equipment, and clean water are luxuries that simply don't exist. That origin story makes them one of the most trustworthy options available. Each MRE is a fully self-contained meal in a tough, compact pouch, a main entree, starch or vegetable side, snack, condiments, dessert, and often a beverage mix. Many include a flameless ration heater, a simple chemical pouch that warms the food using nothing but a small amount of water. Hot meal, no fire, no stove, no extra resources required. Stored at moderate room temperatures, most MREs remain fully viable for 5 to 10 years, with cooler conditions extending that window considerably further. For bug-out bags, vehicle kits, or as a reliable no-think option when mental energy is completely depleted, MREs are genuinely difficult to match. They're not cheap, but the peace of mind that comes from knowing you can open one pouch and receive a complete, hot, nutritious meal anywhere under any conditions makes them worth every dollar in uncertain times. Number 2 is wheat berries, and if you're looking for true long-term self-sufficiency that stretches decades into the future, this is where things get genuinely remarkable. Wheat berries are whole, unprocessed wheat kernels exactly as they come from the field, with the protective outer shell still intact. Here's what separates them from ordinary flour stored on a shelf. When wheat is milled into flour, the natural oils inside the grain are exposed to oxygen and go rancid within months. Wheat berries keep everything protected inside the kernel. Sealed in airtight containers in a cool, dry place, they remain viable for 30 years or longer, with full nutritional integrity preserved throughout. When you need flour, you simply grind the berries fresh using a manual or electric mill. Fresh flour from grain that has been quietly waiting for 3 decades. You can also cook the berries whole after soaking, where they become a chewy, nutrient-dense grain, perfect for salads, porridges, or soups. Think about what that means for genuine food independence. One bulk bag becomes bread, pasta, baked goods, or hot cereal entirely on demand. In a world where concerns about food supply reliability continue to grow, wheat berries represent long-term food security in its most practical and self-reliant form. And finally, number 1 is peanut butter. If you expected something exotic, ancient, or highly technical to claim the top spot, prepare to be surprised. The winner is probably sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. Peanut butter earns the number 1 position through the perfect convergence of nutrition, shelf life, convenience, versatility, and something that experienced preparedness planners call morale value. And that last element is what truly separates it from everything else on this list. Start with the nutrition. 2 tablespoons deliver around 190 calories, 8 grams of protein, healthy unsaturated fats that help the body absorb fat-soluble vitamins, plus meaningful amounts of magnesium, niacin, vitamin E, and potassium. It is calorie-dense, nutrient-dense, functional food packed into one familiar jar. The shelf stability is outstanding. An unopened jar, thanks to its low moisture and high fat content, remains safe and good well past any printed date, often for years, with no special storage required beyond a cool, dark shelf. No mylar bags, no oxygen absorbers, no vacuum sealing. It simply works without asking anything of you. Convenience is where it becomes genuinely unbeatable. Zero preparation. Open the jar and eat. No water, no heat, no equipment, no decisions. When mental energy is low and every choice feels heavy, food that asks absolutely nothing from you is pure gold. And the versatility seals the case entirely. Spread it on crackers or hardtack. Stir it into oatmeal. Mix it with powdered milk for a high-calorie shake. Combine it with rice for a surprisingly satisfying meal. Eat it straight from the jar when nothing else appeals. It works across sweet, savory, and plain applications without ever complaining. But the real reason peanut butter sits at number 1 is something deeper than nutrition or shelf life. Picture yourself 2 or 3 weeks into a serious disruption. Meals have become repetitive, rice, lentils, and canned goods day after day. Morale is quietly eroding in ways that are hard to articulate but impossible to ignore. Then you open that jar. You take a spoonful. And something shifts. It doesn't taste like survival food. It tastes like normal life. Something you would choose on any ordinary Tuesday morning without a second thought. In extended emergencies, morale is not a luxury. It directly affects decision-making, emotional resilience, and the fundamental ability to keep moving forward when circumstances continue to deteriorate. Peanut butter delivers complete nutrition while quietly and reliably supporting the human spirit at the same time. Crunchy or smooth, natural or classic, it doesn't matter. Keep it sealed, keep it rotated, and always keep it stocked. It isn't even close, so there they are. 17 must-have foods to stockpile in 2026 that essentially never expire when stored correctly. Some have been trusted for thousands of years: salt, honey, wheat. Others are modern solutions designed specifically for long-term reliability. MREs, freeze-dried options, powdered milk. But they all share one thing in common. They work. Not because they're trending online, but because history has already tested them again and again under the most demanding conditions imaginable. The practical next steps are straightforward. Start small and build steadily, focusing first on the foundational items like rice, salt, sugar, and lentils. Store what your family already eats so rotation feels natural. Use airtight containers, mylar bags, and oxygen absorbers, and keep everything in cool, dark locations. Label everything with purchase dates and rotate using first in, first out. Consider your specific situation, family size, medical needs, urban versus rural. And adjust accordingly. Preparation isn't about fearing the future. It's about giving yourself real options when supply chains tighten, prices spike, or unexpected events arrive without warning. Even adding 1 or 2 items from this list each week will dramatically strengthen your position by the end of 2026. Your future self and your family will thank you for the quiet confidence these shelves provide. Drop a comment below with which item surprised you most, or tell us what you're starting with first. That answer might just help someone else take their first step today.